go deal with our money management and our cash management. So throughout the shift, I am able to go inside the time clock screen, which is where my cash management button is. Cash management has to do with the employee that is signed in. So I'm signed in with DayCash, the cash management of DayCash's money. I do not need to sign in as a manager or as a supervisor to access the cash management screen. I'm signing in with whose money it is. Well, it's DayCash's money, or Night Cash's, or Drive-Through Cash. Whoever it is, that's what we sign in as. This screen looks very similar to my Settle screen. I have forms of payments, I have a number pad, and instead of one enter button, I have 5 enter buttons. In Mary Brown's, we don't really use pay-ins, and we don't normally set floats. The floats are the same in every single day, and pay-ins, we just don't use them in Mary Brown's. So we're really only dealing with 3 buttons down here. We have paid outs, we have enter tender, which is what we're going to do at the end of our shift, and we have cash drop, which is skimming our till. So throughout the day of my shift, I can come in here as many times as I want, and I can say in cash, I took out $25.50. We did a payout. It's going to pop up with the payout screen where I can say get my category. In this case, it was for food, and I can type in it was for lettuce, or I can type in Sobeys, and it's going to print a copy of my receipt. I can select my adjustment tab to see that it's there, and I can hit save and leave and continue on serving customers. And an hour later, my manager comes by and they skim the till. They take some money out of the till. They go cash management, and they say, in cash, I take out $250 out of the till. Well, that's a cash drop. And we can take a look at our adjustment tab. We can see that it was entered in there. We can hit save and leave and continue on our business and keep on serving customers. I'm just going to bring in a bunch of items in here just so I can have some money. That's a lot of 9 pieces. Now, at the end of my shift, the procedure should always stay the same. I simply take my till, I count it, and I subtract my float. What I'm left with is my deposit. I have no need to actually subtract in my payout or my cash drop again because I've already entered it into the system. So I've taken my till, I've subtracted my float. Yes?
I just had a question.
Mm-hmm.
If you put in the wrong amount for a cash or a payout, how do you go back in to fix it?
You can't. You actually have to do a pay-in to cross-reference it. So in this payout, if I did $25.50 and it was actually supposed to be, let's say, $35.50, I have 2 choices. I can either enter another payout for the $10, or I can actually do a pay-in for $25.50 to cancel this, which I'll show you what it would look like. So I do a pay-in for $25.50. Again, I'm going to put it back to food, and I can say here, error.
Jared, I fixed it before several times. You just put a minus in front of the, if you enter too much on your tender, on your final deposit, you can go back in and put a negative amount in front of that dollar value and enter the tender again to balance the money.
After you've verified the cash out?
Yes, yes.
That's not on the same shift then. You may be doing that, and it may be looking to you that it's actually fixing it, but in actuality, you actually created a new tender, and it's not on that shift.
But it balances on your sales summary report at the end of the day.
It may balance on the sales summary report, but if we think about what this is trying to achieve, we're trying to train the cashiers and the supervisors to enter the things that they want to enter in so that the owners, or in some of your cases, head office, is seeing the mistakes. And if they can actually go in and enter in something else after the fact on a second shift, even though it's a second shift, and then even though the sales summary may look right, now the owner or head office is not seeing the mistakes. Does that make sense?
No, I mean, if it's night cash, for example, and the cashier counted $350, and they entered their tender for their final deposit as $350 and found out that they're $100 over, and they go and count their money, and in actuality it was $250. Can't they go and sign back into night cash and put a minus $100 and do a tender again to balance the money? You're still going to see that on your sales summary report, are you not?
You're just going to see it all.
And it's just going to be for one transaction.
Yeah, so let's finish this one up, and so I can show everyone what you're talking about, okay? So let's go in and do a cash out, and I'm going to go enter in that I have $3,800, okay? In cash, I hit enter tender to put it in over here. And I'll say that in US, I have my $20 that I took in, so I'm going to put it in over there. So I'm going to go and verify my cash out. The idea here is that after I've entered it in, somebody's double-checked my work, I hit verified. At this point in time, if I made a mistake, I just retype it in. So I had $3,850. I hit enter. That was US. Let's just hit. You see, it just replaces my number here. It doesn't actually. It was never posted, so I'm just replacing the number. Once we hit verify, the system knows our shift is finished. So when I go verify cash out, it's saying who's verifying the cash out. And now from this screen, I can't change anything. Okay, it's been verified by Technique. Because I've hit verify cash out, when I hit save and leave, it's going to ask me a couple questions. When I just did the payout or the cash drop and I hit save and leave, it didn't ask me any questions because I didn't verify my cash out yet. The first question it's asking me is, do I want to clock out? It's not asking if Jared wants to clock out. It's asking if Day Cash wants to clock out. Jared still has his own personal code that he's entered in, that when he's done mopping the floors and checking the washrooms, he'll clock out himself. So yes, we do want to clock out Day Cash. And in this case, it's now asking us if we want to report. Well, yes, I want to see if I'm over or short, because right now I have no idea. So yes, we want to see our reports. The only report we need to see is our tender balance report. Does our tender balance? We don't care about anything else at this moment in time. We just want to know, did we give it enough money? Now, I normally hit print, but I hit view simply so everyone can see this on the screen. So what this is showing me now is everything that happened in my shift. I can see in cash, I did a 250 cash drop. In pay-ins, I had the 2550, and the payout, the 2550. I didn't do the third one to correct that. Now it's going to show me what I was supposed to have. I told it I had $3,850. I'm short $306 in cash. And then it's going to do the same thing in US, and I actually balanced in my US. So in this case, if I understand correctly, Denise, you're saying that I am now seeing that I'm short $300, and we find another $300 somewhere. You're saying that they're going into the system now and doing another cash out?
Yes, so we can sign back in if this is Day Cash, what we were on, and we found $300.
So let me sign back in here. I want to just see what you're doing here. So I'm going to sign back in. I'm going to cash in as well. So this is now, you'll notice everyone up here, I have tender balance 2 of 2. And my first tender balance, which is here, which I can't change, was 1 of 2. So you're saying on 2 of 2, what are you doing?
So if we found, say, another $300, then we're entering $300 as a tender.
Okay, so I've entered that in, yeah.
And we're verifying.
Okay.
Because we have verified that money.
Okay.
And we're saving and leaving and going through the process. Clock out, yes. Going to reports, yes. Tender balance report.
So there's my first shift, and then I have my second shift, which is now over $300. And then you're on your sales summary now. So if I go run that sales summary here, I know we're jumping a little bit ahead into reporting, guys, but I just want to take a look at this topic here. And then we go into our tender balance section. You're going to see it only short by $6, correct?
Yeah.
So here we go. We're only short by $6. Okay, so I understand completely what you're getting at, Denise. And yes, in this example, it's working. My only question as, I guess, an owner, if I pretended I was an owner of a store, I kind of want to see that they were $300 short. And I want to see that maybe they deposited the $300. Because I guess what I'm getting at is, what if it was the other way around? What if I was over? What would happen if I was over here? If I was over,
Well,
am I a way to manipulate it to say that I was short?
but I see what you're saying in terms of manipulation, but you have what your sales are for the day, you have what's expected and what you're supposed to have, and then you have your actual amount. And you want your expected and your actual amount to be very close, to have a minimal over shortage for the day. And I've even done this for what another lady was saying on the phone, to put, say you miscount and you put in more money on your tender than what you actually have, and you're actually over, say, by $100. You can actually put a minus in front of that amount to have it as a negative amount and take a negative back. Because I think, too, it's important to have your money balanced at the end of the day, and I think it's also equally as important to have your sales summary balanced at the end of the day.
I completely get what you're saying. My only concern would be that latter example that you gave me. And I run my reports. The system tells me I'm over $300, and basically the person found a way that they can go in and put a negative in. And because the owner just runs the report this way, and they may not be running the tender balance report or this grouped out by server, they weren't able to see right at the top of their head that they were over 300, and that money just goes into the cashier's pocket. That's my only concern.
But if they're able to read on the sales summary report what is expected, and now they see what they have in terms of a cash deposit, what they have in hand, and they see that there's a difference, and someone has gone in and done a negative tender or a positive tender, whether they're under or short, they're going to be able to see that as well, versus from their expected versus their actual.
Yeah, but in this case, I get where you're coming from. Yep. Just my only, again, I'm not trying to set procedure for Mary Brown's. Just my only concern was the theft issue. And if you allow them to manipulate, and I get that you want this to look correct, I guess from my standpoint, if I was an owner, I'd want to see the mistake and then a handwritten explanation to say, we found the $300, and that's what went in the bank account.
Yeah, I mean, despite what you do on your tender balance, you're expected, whatever you do, you're expected is never going to change. Whether you put a minus in front of a tender or you put a positive tender and you go into either day cash, you reopen it again, or night cash, your expected is still going to remain the same. And as an owner, you're going to want to see that expected be relatively close to what the dollars that you have in hand.
100% correct, 100%. But what if my cashiers were miscounting money and I had an extra $50? I'll never really know that they were miscounting money because they're always going in and correcting it. That's my only issue. The money now goes in the cashier's pocket, and the owner's not aware that there's been a people counting money wrong because they're putting a negative in. Anyways, good topic. I'll save this for a different conversation. I think I get it that they're able to do multiple ways, and with any system, there's always multiple ways of doing things. My only, like I said, I don't want to set procedure for Mary Brown, so whatever procedure you guys set that you want them to do, wonderful. Okay, so that's how I cash in. That's how I cash out.